What's up, guys and gals? I'll apologize for the hat hair just once in advance, but I couldn't wait any longer. I have so much on my plate today, but I wanted to make sure that this review did not come out. And you heard that right, not a reaction, a review for the latest chapter of SHOKUGEKI no Kengan. That's what it's called, right? Right? Yeah, of course it is. SHOKUGEKI no Kengan Omega, chapter 285, entitled Thank Goodness, because, as you guys know, the real tournament is over. I'm done with the reactions for a while, I'm done with the reactions. We're back into the review format, so I already read the chapter. I read the chapter on my break, and then after, work and I, post-workout kind of idea, I said, before I get into the slew of chores and stuff I gotta do, I want this review to come out today, on Wednesday, because, baby, SHOKUGEKI no Kengan is just, sometimes it's just peak, isn't it? It's just peak. Now, I'm sure a lot of you, okay, you get the joke, right? You get the reference, you get the joke? Excelente. So, I was hoping for this. I was really hoping. I wish it was longer, but I'll take what I can get. I just did a, over the weekend, as I was feeling better, and the real tournament was over, Dio Blitz and his YouTube channel, I will link him down in the comment or the description box down below, asked me to do another collab video with him, and we went for about an hour and a half, I think, like that, just talking about the last fight, the real tournament, and all that stuff. And he asked me on that, and I'm sure those videos or video is going to come out soon, later on this week, maybe next week. And of course that'll be shared on my channel because, hey, I was a guest. It was a nice time. I've done them before. He asked me, what do you want to have happen now? Like, do you want a time skip? Who do you want to jump over to? Do you want the aftermath? What do you want? And I said, I want the campfire. I want the campfire of the holy trinity of badass main characters, of the strongest in the verse. That's what I want. I want to go back, as fun as the final fights were, and as much as I enjoyed the real tournament, more so than most Kengan fans, it seems, I want to go back to the guys that matter. The only one missing here is Joji, in all honesty. That's the only one missing here from this trio of titans. Now, I just wanted to go back to the campfire. I expected us to go back to the campfire more often than we did during the real tournament, but I'm glad we got to see it here, and verbatim, I know it wasn't a reaction, but I mean, the moment I saw Oma on the first panel, when I opened up the chapter at lunchtime, I was like, oh, I can't put this down. Oh, please tell me Kuroki's here. And then Kuroki's here. The beard is here. Okay, the three are chilling because everyone's like, oh, is Kuroki going to know that Shen's here? Like, what's going to go down? Blah, blah. I'm like, no. These three are masters. They're just chilling. They're vibing. There's no job anymore. Kuroki absolutely wants to test his strength, but Kuroki's also a gentleman. He's also, he knows. He goes, now's not the time and place. This forest doesn't need all that destruction. This is a place of comfort, of soothing, of meditation. Let's have some sake. Let's have some good food. Warm yourself by my fire. And let's just have a good time. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So, Oma's here talking to Kaede, which, once again, there's another reason to love this chapter. Best chapter all year, right here. Because not only do we get Kuroki Gensai, not only do we get Shen Wulong Jackie, we get Oma and my ship for Kaede. I'm sorry, people who want him to get with the high schooler, whatever. Now she's college age, so it's okay. No, I always like the dynamic between Kaede and Oma, so I ship Oma and Kaede, and so it's nice when it's constantly Kaede and Oma. They're the ones talking to each other and stuff like that. I'm like, yes, please. I'm a romantic at heart, as broken as it is, and yeah, I want Kaede and Oma to end up together. So I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is good. Opening page, it's like, all right, this is just going to be great. So she basically accounted with the satellite phone and said, here are the results. Here's what happened in the tournament. Agito won. And Shen and Kuroki are there, and they're just enjoying the fire. And it's like, oh, and Shen's like, oh, really? And Kuroki just says, an appropriate outcome given Kano's talent. Like, it's like, yeah, makes sense. Everyone's like, yeah, for real. Agito, all right. And it's like, that's pretty good. And then we get this. And I've been reading another series. Now, you guys know I love my food manga. I read Addicted to Curry, all of Toriko multiple times, Shokugeki no Soma, which I used to review and stuff. And a new one that I've been reading that isn't translated very far, only 30-odd chapters. But it's Futari, I want to say, Solo Camp. I think it's called Futari no Solo. Anyways, it's about camping and literally this stuff. So it's very funny that this is what's happening. But they actually teach you like the ins and outs of how to camp, how to build a fire, and recipes. You know, to make beer can chicken, to make, you know, miso kebabs, to make things that when you go camping into the woods and stuff like that, here's what you bring with you, and you don't want all these pots and pans, so here's how to do things with just an open fire, and blah, blah, blah. And it's all reminding me of this, and I'm like, I love cooking. Cooking's something that I have a relatively, you know, above average level skill at, I like to think. And so this is right up my alley. Everything in this just first couple of panels is just right up my alley. I got my romantic ship. I got my favorite characters. The beard is here. And cooking. Like, first 2 pages, and it's already a 10 out of 10 chapter. So, I mean, it's perfect. It's just perfect. So, he literally they are going to eat moon bear and stuff, as Oma said. Oma said, yeah, you know, apparently that's a delicacy, blah, blah, blah. So he made moon bear skewers, you know, nice big cubes and stuff, coated them in miso and grilled them. Now, I'm not a huge fan of miso. I've tried miso many times, you know, miso soup, spicy miso and stuff like that. But if miso is applied nicely, it's sort of like ginger. Ginger is used in a lot of Asian cuisine, and it can be very overpowering. Same with wasabi and all these other things. But if the miso is, you know, done very nicely, I'm sure I would still very much enjoy this as a carnivore. Now, they don't give you a full lowdown recipe. It's quite simple. He marinated the miso, you know, them in miso for probably, you know, they're probably hungry after cubing up the meat. You know, so some marinades, you only need to marinate, you know, as upwards to 30 minutes to an hour. So I'm assuming it was a quick marinade. Boom, grilled on that open flame. Mwah, that'd be delicious. Now, bear is very difficult to cook. I've never cooked bear. I've cooked a lot of game. Never cooked bear, though. Never cooked bear. And if I learned anything from Shokugeki no Soma, bear has a very pungent smell that can really turn off the appetite as you eat it. So it's very difficult to cook from what I understand, but I'm sure these are good. I'm sure these are great. So it's miso grilled. Sounds tasty. They start. Shen blows on it, starts eating it and stuff. He's like, delicious. This miso really brings out the flavor and stuff. And that's what I mean. This is reminding me very heavily of the solo camping manga I'm reading. And the other food mangas. Is that he's actually, the way the dialogue's going, he's complimenting. He's like, here's this beautiful shot of this, you know, skewer. I've never tried this. You know, that's quite elegant. The miso, you know, the spices you add, that spice blend really brings out the delicate flavor of the bear meat. You know what I mean? It's just going down that line. It's just, I need another food manga in my life. I really do. I need more food manga. You know, I gotta make my own at this point, for God's sakes. But yeah, so Oma says, oh, that miso's pretty good. Is it homemade too and stuff? It's like, you could be a, you know, a professional chef, Kuroki. And he's like, this is something that anybody could make. Yeah, because, you know, if you don't cook, things like making marinades, I've learned by teaching, you know, friends and neighbors who aren't really that versed in the kitchen, to what's simple to me is quite, whoa, to other people. They don't know where to start or where to begin, you know what I mean? It's just a skill they haven't learned yet, even the basics, you know? So Kuroki's saying the same thing. He goes, no, this is something anybody can do. It's just a miso marinade, throw it on the skewer. It's not hard. And then we get this shot of Falcon, who, whatever. But Rahito. And Rahito looking, you know, with that little bit of scruff, as I'm saying. He's looking a little more serious. He's getting a little more jawline, you know, starting to take after Kuroki a little bit there. And, you know, and Falcon's hair is a little more shaggy, a little more wild and stuff. Maybe it's just the art this time. But they're like, yeah, should we save some? Are they going to be joining us? They went deeper into the mountains for training. So Shen's just enjoying it and stuff. He goes, man, this is really good. I wish I had some rice with it, though. And then it's Kuroki with the aura, just making a simple salted rice ball. And I'm just like, yes. Like, this is stuff you would make camping. Like, if you know, if you actually cook. If you're not, like, surviving off of Mountain Dew and bags of chips, you know what I mean? Or pre-made shit. This is how you bring things that are light to carry, easy to assemble, and easy to make. Things that don't have a whole lot of parts to them, right? A quick salted rice ball, some sake, So, oh yeah, and I've got some sake here and stuff, and we killed the bear, we used the land and stuff like that. It's all so accurate to how you camp when you're not just at a campground or RVing or whatever, but which you can do this as well when you're doing that, but when you actually go out into the woods and camp and set up a tent and stuff like that, right? So I like all this. It's just, and of course, Kuroki making his jelly-filled donuts there of salted rice balls, and boom, they're just sharing this meal. And this is exactly what I wanted. They're talking about nothing. Well, they're talking about food, which is great, but they're really talking about nothing. They're just, as I said this in so many reactions and the reviews and stuff. I'm like, they're just chilling. They are literally just chilling. Everyone's wondering like what's going to happen, what's going to be said, what challenge is going to be like thrown down and stuff. And it's just like, no, they're just chilling. They're like, yeah, we know we're the top in the verse. That's pretty good. Would you like some? Absolutely. Hey, pass me more of that. Yeah. Oh man, you're a good cook. Yeah, you too, man. They know they're top dogs. They don't need to prove shit to each other. They're not a bunch of dogs out there who's got the loudest bark, who's got the strongest bite. They already know they're the top. They don't need to prove shit to each other, especially. They got no audience, no nothing. And so this is where then they start talking about the pottery and stuff. He's like, that's a very nice bottle. It's quite simple but elegant. And Kuroki's like, well, it's ancient Bizenware, which I have no idea about pottery. So, it's ancient Bizenware, in fact. If you like it, you can keep it, in fact. And it's like, I'm just like, these guys are all just friends at this point and stuff, and I just love it and stuff. And Shen's like, sorry for dropping in unannounced, by the way, but I really appreciate the hospitality. And Kuroki just, nay, I took the liberty to accommodate you in the first place. I need no thanks, and stuff like that. And they're just chilling. They're drinking. Shen and Kuroki just enjoying a drink, eating some bear, which I'm sure, once again, Kuroki killed with his bare fucking hands. And it's just amazing. Now, Oma, I don't know who he's referring to right here. I think he's meant to be Shen, but because he calls him, he just looks like a friendly old man sitting there like that. And then he keeps talking about Shen. I'm like, but Shen's not really an old man. I mean, I suppose if you count the de-aging process, yes, Shen is quite old right now. He's probably in his 50s, 60s even. But, when he says old man and Kuroki's sitting right there, I'm just like, is that meant to Kuroki or whatever? But it was clearly about Shen. And he's like, it feels strange. I know I gotta beat this guy, but I can't bring myself to hate him. It's like, why would you? Shen is awesome. He's Jackie. He's Jackie. He already said, listen, I can be patient. Find me somebody to fight me seriously. And in the meantime, we're all good, man. You know what I mean? That's why Joji's like, yeah, it's all good. Everyone's like, yeah, it's all good. Yama convinced him. Yama Dohan just said, please don't do that. And he's like, all right, well, do you got an alternate method? He's like, yeah. All right, we'll go with your plan. It's like, okay, cool. Right? So, yeah, so they're just chilling. Unfortunately, the rest of the chapter focuses on people who think they're main characters. It's almost like they think they're a part of this story. Yeah, so anyways, we jump away from our main antagonist, the strongest in the verse, and our main character, to go to the pseudo-main characters and stuff, right? And into the next day, and the sun rises, and blood has been spilled this night. And it's just Ryuki versus Koga here. And they're just training, and it looks like it's quite intense. Like, oh my god, they have gotten so strong. They have gotten so good in the last 2 months. Like, this is martial arts. This is crazy. And it's that guy from the first chapter of Omega who just recently got back into the story and got introduced to Ryuki, and now apparently he's back in the story permanent-like, because now he's chilling with them, and he's the one going, wow, they're so cool. And he's apparently there only for a reason, though. He tracked down this guy, the missing person that Koga was looking for, and saying, he's a little nuts from what I hear. You better be careful. And Koga's like, yeah, no, thanks for the info. I'll see you guys later. And then we see who it is. And this is where the chapter almost drops to a 9 out of 10. That's how stupid this is, in my opinion. Because you jumped away from the best characters having the best time to the pseudo main characters and this fucking monkey who legitimately, and I'm sure it's because his nose got caved in and that's actually like some type of like stretchy, like, you know, you ever seen like an elbow brace or a knee brace, it's flexible sort of idea. I'm sure it's meant for his bones, his recovery, his face, whatever, after he got smashed in purgatory or some shit. Like it's to hide like his nose is permanently disfigured or something and he's, I don't know. I'm sure there's an actual reason. That or he's literally got a latex black thong on his face. Like he couldn't look fucking stupider than he already did. The sixth fang of Metsugo. Yumi Gahama. Koga tracks him down, wants payback. He thinks it's something to do with the Kengan Association, or it's something to do with Metsudo personally, like tracking him down to blame him or something like that. And literally, this reason is simply because he owes him from that time that he hit him in the gut and fucking, and Jose was like, you motherfucker, you know, and stuff. And then Jose got his ass beat, right? After breaking Yuma's arm. See, they're going to start a fight. And I'm sure Koga's at a level at this point where I don't think he walks away cleanly from this. I don't think he walks away cleanly from this fight because he's still one of the six fangs. You saw the amount of damage he was able to do to Jose and stuff like this. And you saw that he might be a joke within the community, but he was still strong enough to be a bodyguard, still strong enough to be ranked at the level to become the sixth fang of Metsudo. Regardless whether he's the weakest fang or not, he was still a fang. He was still an A-tier gladiator and stuff like that. And, you know, he was able to fuck up some guys pretty good as we find out, as we know and stuff like that. Koga has definitely improved. And I do think Koga's going to win. But if he mops the absolute floor with him, then that means that we're saying that that Jose has zero chance against him. And Misasa would actually have to really try to would have to go all out to beat Koga. You know, for these reasons alone, I just don't see that because we haven't seen that amount of development. All we're constantly told, narratively, is that Koga has been training in the 2 months. All we see him do is spar with Oma, spar with Kuroki, spar with, Agito and Roland for some random reason, want to teach Koga. He's this amalgamation of people. And it's just, I don't want to say it's unearned, but kinda. Because this isn't really a main character sort of focused story like it was in Ashura, right? We jump around. We haven't seen Koga in months of these chapters. We haven't seen him. You know, we jump away from him way too often, and then of course we have Oma back alive, who everyone loves more, so we focus on him more. And it's just like, and he's a dual protagonist because he shares the spotlight with Ryuki as the new main characters. So, I'm sure he's just going to get his shit kicked and stuff, but power scaling wise, we just keep putting Koga. Okay, Koga when we last saw him was about B tier, or bottom of B, or he was top of C, or wherever you ranked him, and now all of a sudden he's going to beat this guy, and we're going to have to raise him a whole tier. But we saw no fights, no training. We get half a chapter of training just saying, wow, from one novice who doesn't know anything about martial arts, they look so different than 2 months ago. And that's it. That's all we get. You know, we're just giving it. It's like, oh yeah, fast forward 6 months. He's way stronger now. Fast forward 6 months. He's way stronger and stuff. I mean, people might complain about Dragon Ball Z filler, but we saw on the way to Namek, Goku constantly training. Vegeta, before turning Super Saiyan, we constantly saw him training in the gravity chamber. constantly and stuff. All the anime filler did was literally show us these guys are never stopped. They're constantly finding new inventive ways to train. We see, even One Piece does this in the manga. We constantly see Zoro, you know, lifting weights in his spare time when the crew is just chilling and they're not having a party. You'll see Zoro out there lifting weights or some shit, right? He's like, okay, he's always training. He's always getting stronger. The problem is we lose focus on Koga for too long, then we come back and we're just told he must be way stronger. Okay, but where is that finite? Where is that going to end? So anyways, I say all this to say that it's interesting that we're back with Koga, bringing, you know, this motherfucker back into the story. I don't know what the decision making is, because as I said, we do all this. We only spend the first third of the chapter on peak. And I don't like used internet terms and stuff like that, you know, like fire and jobber and peak and all that shit. But there's no other word to actually describe it. It's peak fucking Kengan content. It's peak around the campfire. And then for some reason we walk away from it for this. You know? So Koga can have a fight that doesn't matter against a disgraced Fang of Metsudo, who we never really could scale that well because because the purgatory rules worked in Misasa's favor during the fight. He seemed to actually push Misasa before that to a degree, and he managed to beat up Jose pretty good. So, and as I said, we only see these little snippets, chapters like this, where we see Koga being in a sparring match for all of 5 seconds and 3 panels, and then we're said, yeah, wow, you've improved so vastly. It's like, you imagine if we were told that. You know what I mean? You imagine if all of a sudden, like, when Kanade comes back and shit, like at least we saw Rahito slowly climb. Like, we have more development with Rahito than we do with Koga. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, because, I don't know, just the way it's been handled for an MC, it just feels weird, that's all. So yeah, other than that, the chapter was absolutely great. It was absolute fire, and I could sit here and keep talking about it. I wanted to spend every line of dialogue, I wanted to basically react to the whole thing, for sure. And as I said, the rest of the part does not interest me at all. I don't care. If the choreography's good, the choreography's good, but I never gave a shit about the 6th Fang of Metsudo in the first place. I liked it when it was, who is this guy? How strong is he really? And all this stuff. Is Agito going to take revenge for him betraying his master and stuff? When KVP was introduced, he was interesting. He hasn't been interesting since KVP. Bringing him back now does nothing for me. That's all I'm saying. And with a thong on his face, which, just looking here at the last panel, yeah, it's clear that his nose is actually still caved in, so that's probably the reason for it. It's not some weird panty fetish, but still, anyway, that's all I can say. That's all I can say about that, but I've rambled on long enough. Chapter 285 was fantastic, peak fiction, mwah, chef's kiss, unironically. And then it was meh. Then it was okay. Okay, here's Koga and Ryuki. Remember them, our main characters? Yeah, they're here. They still throw punches. Meh. So, anyways, and as I already said, Dio Blitz will be coming out with he does a bunch of Kengan stuff, so definitely go check out his channel. I've been invited there a couple of times, and we collabed again after the end of the Real Tournament, and our thoughts on that will be out on his channel. I'll share the video, and of course the link to him down in the box below. Thanks guys so much for watching the review, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as always. And we'll see all you people back here next time for chapter 286 of Kengan Omega. I assume it's just going to be Koga versus 6 here. I assume that that's going to be the bulk of the chapter. So, yeah, it'll probably be another review. So, anyways, that's it for me. Look forward to it. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.